So my first video for the YouTube channel was a 3-scooter comparison. It's not the most exciting thing in the world. I'm someone who's grown up on fast bikes and spent a lot of time at the racetrack, so an Activa 125 isn't exactly my idea of fun. But as a reward, I'm now here in Sri Lanka for a TVS event. Now they've given us a key, we're riding across the country over the next 3 days, so I'm hoping for something like an RR310. I'm really looking forward to this. And we're coming up to the parking lot right now, so let's take a look at what we've got.
Sorry for the interruption, but it was at this exact moment that Zaran's world was going to come crashing down. What joy!
Oh no way. You gotta be joking. Why am I being punished?
Yep, an XL100. Not a motorcycle, not even a scooter, a bloody moped for Christ's sake. They flew me all the way out here to ride a moped. Nevertheless, I was stuck in a foreign land with no other choice, so I hesitantly climbed aboard the XL and prepared myself for 3 agonizingly boring days ahead.
Now, one of the few things that can make punishment a little more bearable is company. A while ago, a few boys from the office rode down to Goa and Roman had to endure the XL and all its sluggishness for an entire 1300 kilometers.
Hang on, did he just say endure? The XL100 is immense fun to ride, and no, I didn't grumble or groan, even if he's just about to tell you otherwise.
But while their journey featured a lot of grumbling and groaning, I was determined to make my trip a more effortless affair. I wasn't thrilled about what was underneath me, but Sri Lanka, I was sure, was going to be amazing.
Fortunately for me, Sri Lanka is a tiny little country, which means I don't have to be doing breakneck speeds to get where I want. Also, you usually see an XL with like a sack of vegetables or some large milk cans on the back. Now, I don't plan on becoming a greengrocer while I'm here, but the luggage carrying capacity does mean that I can do a healthy bit of shopping during my time here. Something which wouldn't be possible on a Japanese crotch rocket.
Despite my best attempts to be cheerful about my situation, the way each kilometer seemed to stretch on forever really wore me down. And quite soon, I was bored. Very, very bored.
Boredom was a constant companion of Roman and the boys on the way back from Goa, and for once I can see why. The lack of top speed on the XL really bogs you down, and the rate at which the odometer ticks over can be very frustrating at times. But at the same time, the Ntorq is a lot of fun to ride. The route they took to Goa was beautiful, and heck, they even had a boombox for company. Even without a soundtrack, I'm keeping myself entertained with views like this, but at the same time I do wish I had a few more ponies underneath me. But don't tell them I said that.
And you thought we'd never find out? Oh, nice pants, by the way.
Well, we've got a long day to go and it's 65 kph all the way, so I better get going.
With just 4.3 PS on tap, progress can be quite slow on the XL, but boy can this motor take some abuse. On the journey from Colombo up the coast to Puttalam, I was sat at full throttle for more than half an hour at a stretch on multiple occasions, and the engine never missed a beat. The harsh treatment continued over the next couple of days with no sign of protest whatsoever. Yes, progress was slow, but I used all that extra time to soak in my surroundings. Ambling along pristine beaches, soaking in the lovely sunshine, I was just about beginning to enjoy my journey a little bit. Until... Unfortunately, I jinxed myself, and my good luck with the weather ended soon afterwards. Much to my surprise, the XL actually held up pretty well, showing absolutely no signs of trouble. I was suffering far more than the little moped was. Despite the downpour, my journey continued very, very slowly, and I eventually reached my overnight halt in the town of Anuradhapura, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world.
And what does one do upon arriving in one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world? Eat at a fancy restaurant that looks anything but old, and all alone, that too. These millennials.
So here we are at the hotel after the first day of riding. Been on the road pretty much all day and we've done well 200 kilometers. Had I been on a proper tourer, I could have been, well, halfway to Kerala by now, but this being a moped, I'm restricted to 65 kph. But let's see what tomorrow holds in store for us.
I set off the next day with an even more daunting task. A ride across the nation to meet the east coast of Sri Lanka at Trincomalee, followed by a sprint down to Dambulla, located almost exactly at the geometrical center of Sri Lanka. There were a few things that made my journey a little more relaxing though.
It took Roman and the boys an age to get back from Goa, and I'm suffering from a lack of horsepower and top speed, but they blamed it on bad roads. Sri Lanka doesn't really have any bad stretches to speak of, but I rolled over a twig back there and everything seemed just fine. So I think the issue is more with their backs and backsides than with the bad roads themselves.
My patience was tested as I trundled along the excellent roads all the way to Trincomalee, where I found myself a cozy spot at the beach and managed to get some downtime. Not that it was strictly required.
One of the other things I greatly appreciate about the XL on this ride is the comfort factor. It's got these really nice upright ergos, you're seated in a very comfortable position and you can stay there pretty much all day. It also weighs only about 86 kilos, which is about the same as a really large mosquito. So it's very manageable and stress-free. In fact, if I was allowed to scroll through social media while on the move, I would be doing it. None of this would be possible on something like a Japanese crotch rocket, but I would be getting everywhere a whole lot quicker.
Having charged up my batteries, I set off once more. And as much as I hate to admit it, the XL had begun to grow on me a little bit. This feeling was further strengthened by the tricky roads that I found on my way to Dambulla.
While Zaran's idea of tricky roads is, as you can see, questionable, you must forgive his judgment because he probably was in a tearing hurry to get to a swimming pool. Oh, the austerity.
It feels a little strange to admit this, but the XL does have some positives as a tourer. Now, the whole point of touring is to be able to explore new places, but having to tackle something like a tricky hairpin bend while managing a heavy clutch and being in the right gear is just a bit stressful. In that regard, the XL CVT gearbox handles everything for you. There's no clutch to worry about, no gear to be in. You just twist and go. Not very quickly, but you still do go.
The following morning, I embarked on the final day of my journey. And though the kilometers ticked down rather slowly, I grew to like the XL more and more with each passing one. And when I finally parked her for the last time in Negombo, it felt like my trip had ended a little too soon. Not only that, I had a vastly changed outlook on the little moped.
I gotta tell you, when we first set off from Colombo, I really did think I was being punished. A speed junkie like me being made to ride the least powerful petrol engine two-wheeler sold in India is just cruel. But my pain has been greatly quelled by the beautiful nation that I'm in. I mean, just look at it. Velvety coastal roads with brilliant blue sea on one side and lush greenery on the other. Mountain passes meandering through at the mercy of the local topography. Sri Lanka just has it all. Over my 3 days here, I've covered the breadth of the nation and the XL has won me over completely. The 65 kph top speed has allowed me to actually absorb my surroundings rather than them just being this indistinguishable blur around the sides. And that's exactly what this story is all about. Any motorcycle, no matter how big or small, can be fun to ride. And a genuine motorcyclist with an open mind can enjoy himself on anything put underneath him.
What poetry! Except we said exactly that a month ago. Looks like he's got another punishment coming his way real soon. Any suggestions?
I hope you enjoyed our little video on the TVS XL100 in Sri Lanka. We're going to be doing a lot more features going forward. In fact, next week we have a feature on the KTM Duke family and just what makes them so special. Also, we have a lot of videos coming out about Auto Expo 2020. So to stay on top of all of those, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon as well.